Archangel Michael says, "This message is too intense to delay, and if you are reading this, the moment has already started to unfold." A powerful emotional surge hit someone the second they saw you, your face, your presence, your unexpected reappearance. It wasn't planned, but fate moved its hand, and now they are crying so deeply it's shaking their entire soul. You don't know it yet, but the tears they shed aren't ordinary. These are the kind that come from deep inside, the kind that memory, regret, longing, and shock all ignite at once. You walked past them like nothing had changed, but everything inside them fell apart in slow motion. They had rehearsed what they'd do if they ever saw you again. But all their courage abandoned them when the moment came. What they saw wasn't just your image, it was the past rushing into their chest with no warning. It was as if they had seen a ghost they once loved. Archangel Michael says, "Your silence echoed louder than any words you could have spoken in that moment. They are crying because your glow still carries light they thought they would never witness again. And now their heart is racing, their hands trembling, and they don't even know how to look away." Type Amen to get blessing 333. They watched you walk away. And the hardest part was knowing they couldn't run after you, not because they didn't want to, but because they froze from the intensity of it all. You have become both a memory and a miracle standing in front of them. Their tears weren't just for you, but for everything they never got to say. The apology, the truth, the confession, the secret, they buried it so long ago thinking they would never get the chance again. And now, they feel punished by the universe for holding it in. They didn't expect to see you there, but heaven arranged that moment not to break them, but to awaken something they tried to kill, hope. Still, the emotions came like a tidal wave, and they are now flooded in it. You looked like a vision they couldn't believe. Still beautiful, still strong, still powerful in a way that made them shrink in their own guilt. They are crying because they are ashamed of the way they lost you. Type Amen to get blessing 884. You need to know this wasn't just an emotional breakdown, it was a spiritual collapse inside them. Your presence reminded them of the sacred bond they ignored. And now every breath they take is filled with the ache of their own decisions. They were with someone else when they saw you, but the look on their face, the tears they tried to hide, it all exposed the truth. That they never moved on, not really. Archangel Michael says, the universe is forcing them to confront their own lies. They acted as if they had peace, but peace vanished the second they saw you. And the one beside them noticed it too. Now they are being questioned, cornered, shaken, because their heart couldn't hide what it still holds. Their tears were a scream to heaven for a second chance. But they know they might not deserve it. Type Amen to get blessing 992. They're looking through old photos tonight, they're reading old texts, trying to find something they missed. Trying to understand how they let something so divine slip from their grasp. Your scent, your presence, your energy, it all collided into them like an avalanche. They couldn't breathe, couldn't speak, couldn't believe they were in the same space as you. Every single thing they buried exploded inside them. They are crying because they thought they were over you. But you being there, real, glowing, untouchable, reminded them they've just been numb, not healed. And now the numbness has shattered. They kept something of yours. A small item you might have forgotten, but to them, it was sacred. tonight, they're holding it in their hands and sobbing like a child. Type Amen to get blessing 1007. Archangel Michael says, their soul is being torn open. It's not punishment, it's divine correction. They had to feel this, so they never take love lightly again. They have replayed every conversation, every laugh, every moment that once felt like forever. And they are realizing they might have lost the most precious thing in their life, just by being silent when it mattered most. They are trying to write to you. But every time they lift the pen, their hands tremble. They know words can't undo what time has done, but heaven has not finished this story. The tears they shed tonight are being counted. Not in sadness, but as keys to redemption. Type Amen to get blessing 1211. Someone close to them asked, "Are you okay?" but they couldn't answer. How could they explain that seeing you has awakened something they thought had died? You have been growing in silence, transforming in shadows. And your radiance now feels unreachable to them. That's why they're crying, not because you were there, but because you are no longer theirs. The person with them could sense it too. A presence like yours can't be ignored, it shifts the air. You made them question everything in just 1 second. They tried to look away, but their soul refused. Because something inside them whispered, this was your destiny, and you abandoned it. Type Amen to get blessing 1444. Tonight, they are on their knees. Not for forgiveness from you, but from the divine. They finally see the damage their silence caused. You might think they moved on, but the moment they saw you again, the illusion collapsed. They are crying because they still carry your energy inside them. They're whispering your name. They're remembering the way your eyes used to search theirs. And they're realizing that no one else ever looked at them like that again. Archangel Michael says, you were the lesson they prayed for after the loss. And now, they are learning it through pain, not words. You've become their mirror and their judge. Type Amen to get blessing 1777. You have no idea how powerful your presence is. It didn't just make them cry, it woke their spirit up. It broke the wall they spent years building. They now regret not holding you tighter. Not listening closer. Not choosing you when they still had the time. They cried so hard that their chest hurt. Not from sorrow alone, but from the shock of knowing they let the light go. And now, the darkness feels heavier. Archangel Michael says, the divine plan is unfolding. But some lessons come wrapped in heartbreak, and this one is shaking them to their knees. Type Amen to get blessing 1888. They may act like everything is normal tomorrow. But tonight, they've lost all control. And heaven is watching. You were never supposed to cross paths again, not like this. But fate needed this moment to happen, to wake them up. And it did. They saw your eyes, and their soul remembered everything. The love, the fights, the promises, the tears, it all played like a film across their mind in that instant. Now they're staring at the ceiling, whispering, why did I lose them? But the truth is, they didn't lose you. They gave you away. Type Amen to get blessing 2022. They've been pretending to smile for a long time. But that mask shattered today. Because your presence was too powerful, too real. Even the person with them noticed the shift. They looked at their partner and felt empty, because nothing they share now can compare to what they had with you. You are not ordinary. You were their gift. But they opened the package too late. Now they are crying because heaven let them see the gift again, but not to keep, just to remind them of what was. Type Amen to get blessing 2444. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. Archangel Michael says, you are being elevated. What happened today was not just emotion, it was confirmation. Your presence holds divine energy. The one who cried for you is being humbled by the universe. They are learning the cost of delay. The weight of silence. You are rising. And your light is blinding to those who once dimmed it. That's why they are overwhelmed with emotion. They aren't crying because they hate you. They are crying because they still love you, but the time they wasted has built a wall too high. Type Amen to get blessing 2666. They are looking for your name online right now, hoping to find anything that shows you're still reachable. Still open, still forgiving. But what they don't realize is this: you're being protected now. Divinely, firmly, eternally, and their access is no longer free. The love you offered was pure. But they mishandled it. And now they're left crying over what they didn't protect. Archangel Michael says, your soul is now shielded, the tears they shed are valid, but they will not break your wall anymore. Type Amen to get blessing March 2003. They heard your laughter from across the room. And it pierced their heart like lightning. Because joy looks better on you now. You are no longer the broken one. You are the healed one. And that's why they're crying, because they see your glow and realize you survived. They hoped you were still hurt, still stuck, but today showed them the truth. You moved forward, while they remained stuck in their past. And now heaven has flipped the script. Their tears are your closure. Their breakdown is your blessing. Type Amen to get blessing 3333. They tried to wipe their eyes, pretending the tears were nothing. But their heart betrayed them with every thump. It kept screaming your name like an old song they swore they had forgotten. Now they are pacing in their room, clutching at their chest, trying to figure out what just happened. That single moment of seeing you has destroyed the walls they had carefully built. The floodgates are open, and they can't close them again. They're crying because the pain is raw again. As if no time has passed. As if everything they hid away came rushing back in a second. Archangel Michael says, your light is too strong now. They tried to dim you with distance, but even oceans can't block the divine. You were meant to rise, and now they are being forced to watch it happen. Type Amen to get blessing March 1966. Tonight, they are scrolling through old chats. The memories are louder than ever. Every word, every emoji, every voice note, it all feels like it just happened yesterday. They missed the version of themselves they were with you. You brought out their softness, their sincerity, their spark. But now that version is just a ghost, a faded echo. And the worst part? They know they'll never be that person again without you. They're not just crying because of what they lost, they're crying because of what they became without you. And that realization cuts deeper than any goodbye. Type Amen to get blessing 3888. They've cancelled their plans for the night. No appetite, no interest in anyone else. Because nothing else feels right anymore. Their soul is replaying the encounter over and over. How you looked. How you didn't say anything, how powerful your silence was. You didn't need to speak. Your energy said it all. And it crushed them. Because they saw what they could never touch again, they whispered to themselves, I didn't know they would still have this effect on me. But heaven did. And that's why this moment was delivered right on time. Type Amen to get blessing 4004. Archangel Michael says, this is divine justice. The one who made you cry in silence is now drowning in their own tears. But it's not to destroy them, it's to awaken them. You were a lesson they refused to learn. Now they are learning it with pain. With flashbacks, with haunting realizations. They're checking their phone every minute. Hoping you text. Hoping you break the silence. But you won't, and that silence is screaming louder than 1,000 words. They are begging the universe for a redo. But time doesn't rewind. It teaches. And this lesson has just begun. Type Amen to get blessing 4222. Their friends are asking why they're so quiet. But how can they explain that one glance from you has shattered their entire emotional balance? They're trying to keep it together, but their heart is doing somersaults inside. Even music doesn't help tonight. Every song reminds them of you, every lyric feels like a knife carving your name into their chest. They looked into the mirror and didn't recognize themselves. They saw regret in their eyes. They saw pain in their own reflection. You became the mirror they couldn't look away from, and now the image is burned into their soul. Type Amen to get blessing 4444. They're blaming fate. They're blaming timing. But deep down, they know, it was their choice. They walked away when they should have held on. Your strength scares them now. Your glow is intimidating. You've turned pain into power, and that transformation is louder than any confrontation. They tried to numb themselves with distractions, but nothing works anymore. Because they've tasted real, and now nothing artificial will satisfy their soul. Archangel Michael says, your elevation is your response. You don't have to speak. You don't have to move, your very existence now speaks volumes. Type Amen to get blessing 4666. They're holding back the tears in public. But they break down in private. They've never felt this exposed. Their world feels upside down. You were the closure they never got, and now seeing you again has opened every old wound. But you? You're glowing. You're protected, you're calm. That's what hurts them the most. You've moved into your divine alignment. And they're still stuck in what-ifs. That's why their soul can't stop crying. Type Amen to get blessing 4888. They've started writing a letter. A confession. A truth they could never say out loud. But each sentence makes them cry harder, because they know even if they send it, it won't fix what they destroyed. Some things can't be undone. They saw you with someone else, maybe just a friend, but it didn't matter. Their hearts shattered anyway. Because for a moment, they realized they were the outsider now. Archangel Michael says, this is the price of taking light for granted. You were never meant to be treated like an option. And heaven is making that message clear now. Type Amen to get blessing 5005. Now they're wondering if they'll ever get another chance, but their spirit knows the answer already. This was their chance. And it passed. They can still feel your energy in their chest. As if your soul walked through theirs and left a mark, a divine mark they can't erase. Every memory is now glowing brighter in their mind. They didn't know that love could feel holy until they lost it. They are now face to face with the truth, they weren't ready for you back then. And now, it might be too late. Type Amen to get blessing 5111. They're avoiding sleep. Because they know you'll visit them in dreams. Just like always. Your presence follows them in every space, a scent. A laugh. A song on the radio. It's all divine reminders that they let a miracle slip. Archangel Michael says, your soul is being honored in higher places now, your pain turned into strength is admired in the spirit realm. The one who cried for you will carry that feeling for a long time. But you? You're entering your season of blessings, where your name will be spoken with reverence, not regret. Type Amen to get blessing 5222. They sat alone in the dark, clutching their chest, whispering your name like it would bring back the time they threw away. They don't want anyone to see how broken they've become since that moment. But the truth is, they can't hide it anymore, their tears have soaked into their soul. Your smile has become a wound they can't close. One glance at your face was enough to make the world blur around them. It wasn't just that you looked better, it was that you looked healed, powerful, unreachable. Now they're regretting every ignored message, every delayed apology, every lie they thought they got away with. They weren't prepared for the emotional hurricane your presence would unleash. But heaven prepared it for them, because it was time they felt what they made you carry in silence. Archangel Michael says, there is no running from divine timing, and right now, this person is facing the weight of their choices with no shield, no escape. Just truth, memory, and the tears they can't stop crying. Type Amen to get blessing 5333. They're scrolling back to your last message, reading it over and over. They're trying to decode the pain they ignored when you wrote it. They didn't respond then, but now they would do anything just to hear from you once more. The person beside them is starting to sense the shift. They're asking, what's wrong? But no answer can explain the ache of lost destiny. Because this was deeper than a breakup, this was a soul tie that should have never been severed. Your aura has haunted them before. But this time it pierced them. Seeing you today didn't just hurt, it transformed them. They now realize they were standing in front of a blessing they once disrespected. They thought your light would fade without them. But instead, it multiplied, and now they're the one in darkness, crying for a light they no longer deserve. Type Amen to get blessing 5444. They closed the door tonight and fell to the floor. No pride left. No excuses, just uncontrollable sobs echoing into the silence. They tried to scream your name, but only whispers came out. Their spirit is heavy, and their chest is tight. Because they now know, you were the miracle they buried under ego. Archangel Michael says, your strength has now become their greatest mirror, every tear they shed reflects a truth they denied. And they can't lie to themselves anymore. They hoped you would be broken. But what they saw today was divine evolution. And it broke them instead. Type Amen to get blessing 5555. They stayed up the whole night, going through every memory. The laugh you gave when they said something dumb. The way your eyes lit up in moments of joy. They feel haunted by every detail. You were the safe place they abandoned. The home they thought they could come back to any time. But heaven closed that door, and now they are trapped outside. They cried when they saw you because they felt the shift. You didn't look hurt, you looked like someone who survived a storm they created. That's what wrecked them most. They are now learning what it means to lose something divine. And the tears will keep coming because no apology can rewind this fate. Type Amen to get blessing 5666. They've started blaming themselves out loud. No more hiding behind fake justifications. This time, their soul is calling them out. They're whispering into their pillow, why didn't I fight harder for them? But the answer is not coming back. The only reply is the sound of tears and regret. They feel the void. The kind of silence that only comes after a spiritual encounter. And seeing you again? That was heaven's way of forcing them to feel what you felt when they left. Archangel Michael says, divine justice doesn't always strike like thunder. Sometimes, it appears in the form of a person who rose higher than anyone expected. Type Amen to get blessing 5777. They're deleting numbers they used to run to. They're leaving group chats that once distracted them, because none of it matters now. You have occupied their mind completely. The image of your calm face, your glowing eyes, your peaceful energy, it's burned into their memory. They can't focus. They can't breathe without feeling your absence. You've become a storm inside them. Not a storm that destroys, but one that purifies. And every tear they shed is part of the cleansing they avoided for years. They used to think they won. But tonight, they realize, losing you was the greatest loss of their life. Type Amen to get blessing 5888. They heard a song that reminded them of you, and they had to pull over. Tears blurred their vision. Their chest tightened again. Your spirit has become magnetic, you're rising in light. And every level you go higher, their soul feels the burn of the distance. They remember how you used to hold space for them. How you waited. How you prayed for them, and now, they are the one praying for another chance that may never come. Archangel Michael says, this breakdown is their breakthrough. And it started the second they saw you and couldn't hide from the truth anymore. Type Amen to get blessing 6006. They're texting themselves messages they wish they could send you. I miss you. I was wrong. You were right. But they can't send them. Because they know too much time has passed, you are no longer accessible. Not spiritually. Not emotionally. Not energetically. That boundary they thought you'd never have, it's there now, and it's sacred. They cried hard after seeing you, not because you were gone, but because you had become something they no longer could reach. They felt the presence of your angels. They felt the closure. They are crying because they now know, your story has moved forward without them. Type Amen to get blessing 6111. You didn't even see the breakdown behind their eyes. But it was real. And it's still going on. They may smile next time they see you, but know this, every smile hides 1,000 I wish I had moments. Archangel Michael says, your spirit is being honored now in heavenly places. The cries they shed have awakened the realm of accountability over their life. They are not crying just because of you, they are crying because of who they failed to become when you gave them the chance. Type Amen to get blessing 6222.